Hey everybody, got home, had a really good church service. In Sunday school, we were talking about Jesus and righteous anger, and with the video I made earlier this morning about getting in touch with yourself, that kind of sparked me to want to talk a little more about your character. I am a firm believer that building our character is one of the main reasons for life. And the reason I say that is because when you come into this world, all you have is the framework for your personality of who you're going to become. And when your time is done and you leave this world, that is the only thing that you are able to take with you. So I firmly believe that a big point of the purpose of us being here is to build our character and become who we're supposed to be. And that's why I like to, focus on that and being my best self. Your character is important. Because again, you have to like your own company. And if you don't have integrity, I don't understand how you could, to be honest. But I've met people in the world, so who knows. But yeah, once you figure out your character and you weed through all the stuff that needs to be, taken out and discarded, once you're happy with the final result, the next step is to work on your triggers so others can't get you out of character. You know? You don't want to let people bait you into disrupting your own peace. Some things you just gotta let go and let God. A little warm out here today, but not as bad as some of the other days we had. I'm not like dripping sweat, but I'm getting some more stuff done. Picking through. I have, I got the Bible study Nook area done, which it's great. I'm very happy with that. I have the writing Nook area, and I have like an exercise area that I want to. Like I said, I'm turning all the spaces where I used to do all my bad habits into places that I can support good habits. I'm trying to do a full, 180 turnaround with my life and take the good things more seriously and start letting go of the bad stuff. I've had to cut some friendships because they just weren't leading to positive outcomes. I had some friends that always acted like we were in competition. Like, for what? Like, the only person I'm trying to be better than is myself yesterday. I don't hang around people that think everything's a competition. Yeah, they're not cool to be around all the time. Because they're always, worried about this, that, and the other. And, we're meant to be cooperative, not competitive. And I firmly believe that. That human nature is to be cooperative. I mean, that's how our ancestors survived as long as they did, by coming together and working together. And now everybody's in this mentality of being so divided and thinking that we don't need each other. And look at the state of the world, and that's because everybody's getting that, thinking that way. And no, we have to go back to what worked, what we knew, which was community, which was us looking out for each other. Because let's face it, some of our leaders certainly aren't looking out for us. So it really is up to us to look out for each other. And that's how it was back in the day. Yeah, that's what the journaling is for. I, explained that back in the beginning. The journaling is what helps you find your triggers. Because when you write down what triggers you, you'll start to give it attention. Um, so yeah, work on those too, because all this work we're putting in, once you get to your place of peace, that's all well and good. But if somebody can just walk up and spitefully, say some smart aleck remark and get you out of it, then what's the point? You know? Um, you can't let your peace be dependent on anything outside of yourself. Same goes for your happiness. It's all a choice or a lifestyle, discipline. It's not something you can count on somebody else to give you or to provide for you. Because if you rely on others for things like that, what happens when they switch up on you? Because everybody's going to do it eventually. You know? It's almost like people change like every decade or so. What you want in your 20s is not what you want in your 30s, is not what you want in your 40s, is not what you want in your 50s. And the reality is, yes, some people are fortunate enough to get through those eras together, but the way people are programmed today, you're lucky to make it through one rotation, you know? But it is what it is. We let it get this way. We have nobody to blame but ourselves, because everybody wanted to turn a blind eye and not do the inner work on themselves, so we could have stood up when, it was all small fry stuff. Now, we got the whole thing collapsing around us, or threatening to, and we got to juggle it all because, again, we didn't speak up back when we should have. And that's, the truth of it. That's accountability. What you are not changing, you are choosing. That's why the world is in the state it's in right now. Because what we are not changing, we were choosing. And we were choosing very poorly. Because everybody is caught up in, oh, well, that doesn't affect me directly. Yeah, well, guess what? Even indirect, some of that stuff that affects you indirectly is like global level effect. So it should be a concern and a priority. And everybody forgets, that we are all connected. So even if it happens to somebody you don't know, put it this way, what you allow to happen to others is what you invite upon yourself. That's one of the, universal laws. If you can stand for it to be done to somebody else, that means somebody somewhere is willing to do it to you. That's like one of those laws of nature. So be aware of that. When you do dirty stuff for a long period of time, yeah, eventually you'll meet your match. But again, it is what it is. All we can do is the best we can do. You have to get your strength up. Your willpower. That's very important in keeping yourself in character. Excuse me. Because you have to have that willpower that, hey, you are not going to take me, out of my good headspace. Because there are people in this world that will try. They'll try very hard. And you can't let them win. Some people, all they want is an emotional reaction out of you. And the best response is absolutely nothing at all. Just complete apathy. No response. Just sit there. Don't even acknowledge it. You can't let people tear you down. Nobody gets to decide your value except you. And it's in what you do, what you choose to do. You know? Do you want to be a better person or do you want to be a piece of crap? Because it's all the choice you make. And then whatever choice you make, you can't complain about the results because they're the consequences of the choice you made. I think a lot of people in the world right now are getting delusional about that. They don't understand consequences for some reason. Some people think they're going to do whatever they want to do and expect nothing to come from it. Yeah, that's not the case. You know, the world hasn't gone that far, you know, over the edge. I'm sure it could head there, but it's not there yet. And the best way to avoid that is just don't do shady stuff. Treat each other, you know, as it commanded, with love. All you got to do is do no harm. You know, smile, give somebody props. Like, you don't know what people are going through. Just a kind word, you know, could really make somebody's day, and it could make your eternity. You know, because it is in how you treat others. And it's definitely something to think about. I don't think enough people think about that. You know, everybody, you know, thinks, you know, it's okay, it's free to be an a-hole. And it is. And you're right, you do have the right to be who you choose to be. So if you choose to be an a-hole, congratulations, you get to be that. But again, consider the consequences that go with those choices. Because nobody is exempt. They might dodge the consequences for a while, but nobody is exempt. Nobody escapes it forever. That's, again, one of those universal laws. And the more frequently you do dirty deeds, the more that builds up against you. And it is all very real, you know, whatever you want to call it, divine judgment, karma, you know, whatever. It's all the same thing. And yes, what goes around comes around. And what you reap, you will sow. There's a million ways to say it. Everybody has, you know, something for it, but it all boils down to the same thing. You know, I can sum up the Bible in a single sentence. And it would be very crude and blasphemous, but it wouldn't be inaccurate. You know what it is? Don't be an a-hole. That's it. That's the summary. That's the nutshell. Don't intentionally go out of your way to be a dick to another human being. That's really what most religions fall down to. You know, the golden rule. You know, treat others how you want to be treated. You know, and too many people in this world are getting away from that mentality, and it's really disturbing, actually, to see it in action. It's like people's empathy has been shut off. Like nobody can think outside of themselves. You know, narcissism is rampant in the world right now. And it's very frightening. You know. But again, if you make the conscious choice to be your best self, your best version, that is your best defense against that. Seriously. That's how you escape, you know, whatever everyone's called the Matrix. You have to unlock who you are for yourself and break yourself free. That's how it happens. And then you got to keep at it because you don't want to get sucked back in. Excuse me. Ooh, the heat's kind of getting to me now. But yeah, like I said, that's what I wanted to touch on to add on to what I was talking about earlier this morning. Is you really got to get comfortable with yourself, and once you discover who you want yourself to be, you have to make that unshakable, or as unshakable as possible. And that's what it all boils down to. So keep working at it, keep taking care of yourself, and try and help take care of each other. And I'll see you in the next one.